Welcome to your life story as space to explore the journey from survival to authenticity. I'm Sajine, and here we dive into the raw truths of breaking free from expectations we've grown up with, rediscovering our voices, and thriving after life's challenges. But this isn't just about my story, it's about life. From relationships and self-discovery to the messy, beautiful questions we all face. No topic is off limits here. So if you're ready to embrace courage, healing, and living life on your own terms, you're in the right place. Let's connect. Let's grow. Welcome to the journey. Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a licensed therapist, counselor, or medical professional, and the content shared here is based on personal experiences and insights. If you're facing significant challenges, please seek the support of a qualified professional. Remember, your journey is unique, and you deserve the care and guidance that's right for you. Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I am your new clarity coach. I will be guiding you forward in your life, finding clarity. Now, if you do need a therapist, counselor, I advise you to seek them out, and I can be an accompaniment to it and help you rise. Why? Because I believe that so many times with the amount of stress that we have, we can't see the clarity, and I'm here to help you find it. All right. So today, my podcast actually is called The Power of Rest, when single moms finally stop being used. All right. We're going to talk about the beginning of why single moms often feel guilty resting. You know, many times, even during holidays, when I've decided to take, a holiday, a vacation, just time away with the children, I feel guilty. Even if it's just me, I feel guilty. Why? Because we have been told that we need to keep hustling. We need to keep going. How dare you become lazy? Because if you're lazy, you're not going to make it. It is tremendously horrible feeling. And I am going through that right now with fall break. It is amazing how I can enjoy it, but also feel guilty at the same time. Because I think to myself, oh my gosh, when I get back to work, there's going to be so much work now. They've made it to the point where I can't even take, one little day off, even if I was sick, because I come back to so much. And then I'm expected to have it at a certain amount, or I lose out on any benefit for me going forward, even though I have spent 10 months out of the year working myself to the bone. I don't know if you've been there, but it's brutal. I think it is the worst part of feeling that you have no control. Why? Because they want to maintain that control over you. And if you're a high performer like I am, then they count on it that you're not going to say anything and you're going to keep going. But there's a point where it's bad. And you need this time to rest. So I'd rather take this time to rest, to enjoy the small moments and wonderful moments of life than spend it sick, if you know what I mean. So workplaces, they manipulate our fears, right? They come in and they say, oh, well, you know what? If you want to be a team player or a leader, or if you even want your 50-cent raise, you're going to have to work yourself to the bone, Because if not, you're the worst human being. You're a liar. You're not what you represent. We've heard it all. And I don't think that's okay. And it's even worse for single moms because now they know that you need this job or else. Right? So I want us to start seeing things, start taking control of our lives and saying no. Because now that I've seen it, I'm like, I've spent decades just working, giving myself to others, and I've gotten crumbs at best back. And yet you still get that little carrot on the stick, and the little string that says if you jump higher, you just might get that leadership role you've always been wanting, or that, amount of money that we've been telling you. But you never get there. You never do. The emotional toll of being the sole provider. I don't know about you, but I count myself really intelligent. I've done my dues. I've gone to school. I've done every type of training. I've learned every type of system. I've done it all. And now I'm a sole provider. And when people tell you, oh, you just don't have enough experience here or there. Oh, it's just that, you know what? Now you're too old, because they can't tell you're old, but they find ways. And they're like, and you're a single mom? Oh, man, you won't be able to, commit to everything that we need because you have children. And you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, there's something called boundaries. I have agreed to give a certain amount of time of my life to execute everything that is needed in a job, and that's still not enough? I'm like, once I'm done, I'm done. I start my other part of my life, my other part of my career, and that is being a wonderful, loving mother who is training children to be exceptional adults, human beings. Because the thing is, I think people forget that children is just not having children and letting them figure it out on their own. No, you were actually trying to guide these little human beings to being the most exceptional adults. And it's terrible, You have to make sure you find enough resources, not only to provide for yourself, but for your children. And when people have the audacity to make you feel like you are less than just because you're single, why? Because they have their questions. They're always wondering if, what does your husband do or whatever. And then let's just not talk about how the rumor mill goes around and everybody knows that you don't have a spouse, And I'm like, just because I don't have one does not mean that I'm less than. I think I have earned it. I do 2 roles for the price of one, right? Because the other one decided that, I didn't want to do this. And then society just said, okay, sweetie, you don't have to. She'll have to do it on her own. And then we'll talk about her behind her back. The thing is it's not okay. We have to recognize that exploitation disguised as opportunity. The amount of times that you get used is incredible. I don't think it's okay for women to be used and then treated like less than. Because if you really think about it, I'm like, I always think of the analogy of ants and grasshoppers, The ants are so strong. There's more in numbers than the grasshoppers, but yet the ants still do what they need to survive. We get stuck in survival mode. And the moment you wake up, like I have, you think, oh my goodness, I've been exploited this whole time. You think about it and you're like, wait a minute, what was I afraid? I'm still going to get treated horribly. I have been all this time. But why not get treated horribly? Because you actually stand up for something you believe in and you know you are strong. You're going to make it through. So what if they say many things about you? They already have. So like I've always been taught when I was little, let's make it sweeter. Let's give them something real to talk about. But not because you want to be rude or you want to just be a horrible person. No. Be yourself. Go enjoy your life. If you want to spend some time on your own, spend it without feeling the guilt of thinking, oh, I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to get treated horribly. I'm going to have a mountain of work. Really, that comes down to management. Management needs to say, hey, we can't just leave everything on this individual. And you know what? Don't come to me saying, oh, well, that's not fair for the others that get left behind, because they leave and you still get their stuff. But when you leave, they never get your stuff. So don't tell me that that is not okay. It comes down to management and how they're supposed to treat individuals as a team, the company goal, not all these little things about let's treat people horribly just because they don't have a spouse. I don't know. I would like to know what you guys think. What are the times that you've been exploited for being a single parent? When you have been passed over by promotions because they said, oh, you just can't work overtime. And you're thinking, wait a minute, I've been asking for overtime and they tell me I can't have overtime. You're strong. You're the most intelligent being. You, for the very fact that you're still up and running and have a household running smoothly, tells me that you are CEO or more worthy. And yet they say you're not. Something is just not meshing, like they said. Make it right. We have to remember there's a difference between loyalty and self-sacrifice. You know, I'm a really loyal person. But I'll never forget when I saw somebody wearing a shirt that said, if you want loyalty, get yourself a dog. It made me laugh. Because you're right. You may be really loyal, but people will use you and you end up self-sacrificing yourself. I don't know how, this is something that I learned and it really upset me because you start having all these body pains and you think it's because you're old and whatnot. You know what I found out? If you have been working at a sedentary job, working at a computer, typing away, having your mouse, just having your arms always in a 90-degree angle all the time, pinches the nerves in your arms and your shoulders and your neck. We're not even going to talk about sitting this whole time. And now your knees are in a 90-degree angle. Now you have stopped all circulation in your legs. Your back now hurts. Your nerves hurt. Everything hurts. That is the part that you self-sacrificed for trying to be loyal. Now, I'm not saying don't be responsible. No, yes, you can be responsible. But for goodness sakes, if you need to stand up, stretch. There's so many desk exercises you can do to get yourself moving. Go get yourself some water. Go take a potty break. I remember seeing people who never took potty breaks, and next thing you know, they were always had infections because they forgot to be human. They would get headaches. Why? They weren't drinking enough water. They weren't getting enough fresh air. They weren't stretching. They weren't, helping themselves through. We are not machinery. And even machinery gets treated with more respect than human beings. So, start being loyal to yourself. Start checking out the real signs when your job is taking advantage of you. Many times they wanted so many suggestions, ideas, and I've done it all. And then I had to hear my ideas be taken over by management, stating that they're the ones who came up with it. And I'm left there just, eyes all glazed going, oh my gosh, that was my idea. And they just took it. They didn't even stop, blink. Well, some of them I could tell because the way that they would move their eyes, that's the thing is once you become hyper vigilant, you can tell the different tones in their voice and you can see their body movements and their eyes and you can tell that they are not saying the truth and they can't even believe that they're lying and they can't even hide it in their body movements. So start putting in ideas for yourself. If you want a side gig, if you want your own company, start investing in yourself. Start putting those great ideas to great use. It's needed. Start setting micro boundaries. It's important. I'm telling you, these boundaries are something that I believe is something that you should have. So let me give you some here. I think it's important to have these. These are big confrontations. They're quiet acts of self-respect that protect your peace and energy. Number 1, pause boundary. Before saying yes to any new task, pause for 10 seconds and ask yourself, do I actually have space for this right now? If not, say, let me check my workload and get back to you. Oh my goodness, be careful because some of them, they will go raging mad at you. I remember when I said, hey, I'm at capacity, and that person just went berserks on me. And then management didn't even help. All they said is don't respond back. We'll take care of it. But I was thinking, we're adults here and I haven't done anything wrong. It's just, guess what? They saw that I was the one who could have everything thrown at them because they thought I was the same people pleaser I was before. I am not. I'm now setting boundaries and it's hard, but you'll get through it. 2, the time boundary. Stop answering work messages after your scheduled hours. You don't owe your peace to unpaid labor. Use your phone's do not disturb feature as your invisible armor. Or even better yet, only have your phone set up to receive phone calls only for your contacts, your favorites. It will save you a lot. The rest can go to voicemail and they can wait till the next day. 3, the clarity boundary. When your boss or team piles on vague tasks, respond with, can you clarify that priority so I can deliver quality work? It's not attitude, it's accountability. Yes, you need to start asking it. I've been asking. I say, okay, well, which one do you want? Which one is the most important? Which one's first? I get it. Yes, everything's important. You want everything done. But this is how it's going to be. Sometimes they get upset. But guess what? Once they start doing the work for themselves, they're like, oh my gosh, this was a lot of work. And you're thinking, really? I think I've been telling you that for the longest time. And you just bulldozed me right away. 4, the energy boundary. Take one short 5 or 10-minute break every 2 hours, even if it's just stretching, breathing, or stepping outside. This prevents emotional burnout disguised as being a team player. Oh my goodness, you have to do it. I was at one job. I remember I was standing up at my desk taking calls, but my legs were in so much pain. And I remember the supervisor coming and saying, if I had a question, I said, no, I don't have a question. And she said, okay, then sit down. I have never been so disrespected in my life. And mind you, these were the ones that gave you a few pennies for for raises because they thought they were cool just because they were subsidizing food for you at work for very cheap prices. And I was just like, no, you don't get to treat me with such disrespect. Let's just say they knew that I was somebody who was not going to take it, and they would come at me all the time for things that were just basic human rights. Sometimes you're just going to have to know when to, go. 4. Oh, sorry. 5. The worth boundary. Remind yourself, their urgency is not my emergency. This helps you separate your self-worth from their chaos. You got that. They need to start bringing in their own stuff and changing it up. Then I have a few journal prompts for you. I think it's important. Well, let's take it here. 1. What emotion surfaces when I think about taking a break? 2. Who taught me that rest equals laziness? 3. How has overworking affected my health and my children's peace? 4. What does valued look like to me in a workplace? 5. What's one small boundary I can set this week? 6. What would financial independence feel like emotionally? 7. What are the 3 things I do that no one appreciates but matters deeply? 8. How do I talk to myself when I rest? 9. What fear comes up when I imagine slowing down? 10. What kind of mother do I want my children to remember me as? Exhausted or at peace? I'm going to give you 10 homework questions for clarity and growth, and then we'll move from there. 1. How can I measure my week by peace, not productivity? 2. Where am I saying yes when I want to say no? 3. What does financial healing look like for me this year? 4. How can I involve my children in rest, not just chores? 5. What are my current burnout warning signs? 6. What's one thing I need to stop apologizing for? 7. How can I talk to my employer about boundaries professionally? 8. What values do I want my kids to learn from my self-care? 9. What steps would I take if I believed I was fully worthy? And finally, 10. What's my new definition of success? Really important. All these are going to help you move through clarity because I believe that you need to see it. When I saw it, my eyes opened up wide and I saw an exit. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's hard because we've been conditioned to think a certain way because why? We need to be model citizens. And I'm not saying that we're going to be rebellious people. No, what I'm saying is you also need to be good for yourself if you want to be good to others. It is very important. You can't do anything if you're burned out, stressed, sick, whatever that comes in that's negative. You just can't do it. But if you start doing this for yourself, you can actually move forward. You actually can start learning. You can start loving yourself and enjoying this life because this is the one you got. So let's make it count. So I have a little 5-minute meditation here. Let's see if we can get you feeling a little bit more at peace. Take a deep breath in. Let it all out. Feel the weight of the world you've been carrying. Now imagine setting it down. While you're setting it down, feel yourself relaxing. You don't have to do this alone. You've been holding it for so long. It's safe to rest. Say it to yourself. It's safe so I can rest. With every breath, whisper, I am safe to pause. Feel your shoulders relax, your jaw unclench. You're not failing by resting. You're returning home to yourself. Take that deep breath. Keep repeating, you're safe. Safe to rest and pause. You're safe to relax and know that you are loved. While you keep resting, you can keep going. Take those homework questions and those journal prompts. Include it in your life. It's time you took control back of your life. You're worth it. And I want to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Your Life Story with Sajine. I hope it gave you something to think about, feel, or explore on your own journey. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share it with someone who might need it or reach out to connect. Let me know if there's something that you want me to talk about. I'll do it. In the meantime, I'm here, your clarity coach, leading you through all this mess that you've been placed in, and we're going to find a way to get you out. Thank you so much. See you next time.